Right, it's recording. Don't swear. Apparently this goes all over the fucking place and we're not allowed to swear.
It's the internet, for fuck's sake.
Exactly, it's bollocks, isn't it? There we go. So, hi, this is Aubrey Parsons. I've been asked by the guys from Keep Cardiff Live to sort of get involved with interviewing some fantastic acts from around Wales. So we're kind of taking things on the road slightly. And our first special guest is Mr. Jon Tregenna, who is involved with a band called the Mams. Hi, John. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Aubrey. Some sort of noise going in the background, yeah? That's fine.
You know, that's what being a musician is all about. Putting up with the unexpected, of course.
Yeah.
Right, let me just sort that out because I had the wrong view on there. That's a bit better. It's all live, see, folks. So tell me a little bit about the Mams, because obviously there's going to be a lot of people out there that haven't heard from you, especially in the Cardiff area, because the band originates from Llanelli. Is that right?
Yeah. I was in a band in London in the 90s. I came home in 2000 and I sold all my instruments. I thought, I've done it. I've been there, done a lot in London. And about 6 years after that, I met up with an old school friend who's in a band called the Hepburns, who've been running forever and done very well, especially in West Coast of America and things. And went around his house and he played me a couple of songs. And I thought, they're good songs. He said, come back next week when you write something. I thought, I haven't written anything for years. I wrote 2 or 3 songs and then he liked them and he played guitar on them. And that then became the first Mams album, which was basically my songs with this wonderful guitarist called Matt Jones playing guitar on it, which he'd never done before either. He'd only ever led a band. He'd never been a lead guitarist, so he enjoyed that new challenge. And we put that out, and it did fairly well. And then we actually formed a band to play gigs around Wales and various places. Quite hard, to keep the band going. Lots of people, 5 people involved. But we did okay. And then we did 3 years later, we did a kind of a pub rock album. The first album was sort of a concept album. It was like a disco pop album about being single in Llanelli in your 40s and the perils that brings. The second album then was a band. It was a proper band rather than a lot of computers and stuff. And we did that, and that was 2000, what, 3 or 4 years ago. So there's quite a gap between the first 2 projects. And then, and this summer, looking for something to do, I'd written a couple of songs a couple of years ago and decided to make videos and stick them out there.
Brilliant. So the what was the last album called that you brought out?
We did an album called Locations, which was put out a couple of years ago, which was kind of a bit more of an R&B album. As you can see, that we haven't really pinned down to one kind of musical speciality, because why do that? I mean, there's no chance of record deals and tours and stuff, so you do what you want to do yourself. But the stuff I'm putting out now is much more what I liked when I was a youngster, like post-punk, Talking Heads, kind of aggressive, 3-minute pop songs. And I'm enjoying it, because obviously a 3-minute pop song is much easier to complete than an epic 5.5 minute. It's nice to cut things down to the important parts as well.
Well, you're, certainly the writing styles and the different songs that have been produced by the Mams are eclectic, to say the least. You go from one extreme to the other, and the same goes with the videos that you put out. Now, hopefully people will go away and have a look on YouTube and on the Mams website to watch some of these videos, and some of them are quite, should we say, arty, bit weird, bit off the wall.
Well, ordinarily I keep my face away from the project, so we've been putting out videos where none of the band appear, or if they do appear, they appear in masks or weird app face changing stuff. And the second video, then we had a dancer from Cardiff just dancing in her garden. She was happy to do that. The third video I'm actually recording tonight, which is a kind of a pagan warrior walking through the streets of Larne playing a bass guitar.
Brilliant.
It's exercise, obviously.
Well, the perfect time to film it in a deserted streets of Larne.
We wanted to do it in Buryport, but that's just a bit too far away. You can't justify And I suppose in Larne, anything goes. So if the police did drive by and saw a kind of pagan warrior playing the bass with me filming it, it's Larne. You could probably get away with it. But once the music's been eclectic, I mean, the subjects are generally the same. The subjects are drinking, love gone wrong, and Wales, you know,
Yeah.
being here, the history of Wales, living in Wales. One of the new songs was about my baby daughter who was ill in hospital a couple of years ago. And it was about her sort of being grounded, which really fitted in with everyone's grounded now. So
Yeah.
it was quite prescient to stick that out. You know, it was good.
But fortunately, your little one is now up and about and running around the streets of Larne, because I saw a picture of the two of you the other day.
Yeah, she's causing chaos.
which is what
Smashes everything she can find, which is that's the Larne part of her.
well,
I'm from her mother's from Larne. I'm from Llanelli, which is obviously a much posher place than yeah, or maybe not.
well, I mean, as well as sort of straightforward, you know, guitar, drums, bass. There's a lot. You've used a lot of sampling and even rappers in the past on some of your tracks, which
Yeah.
you know, I mean, who's the guy that you use? Because he really is something else.
He's brilliant. His name's Femi. He was based in. I think he's Ghanaian, but he was based in Cardiff for a while. And he's the most incredible wordsmith. And he's not just a normal rapper. His stuff is really poetic. But then he went back to London, and I've sort of kept a bit in touch with him. But he's busy. I think he's doing a master's or something. So that was the end of that. But he's very special talent. You can find his music, I think, online. I think his name's Femi. There's lots of Femis out there, but I think if you put Femi musician, there might be less.
Yeah.
But he was quite brilliant. The new stuff I've done is been done on GarageBand, purely on GarageBand.
Right.
Singing in the room, playing acoustic guitar and picking amps. So it's actually been done for free. But we do get it mastered by a guy called Charlie Francis in Cardiff, who's a very eminent producer. He's got a mastering service. So it's always worth mastering, and he charges 25 quid a track, which
Wow.
isn't much to make it sound,
No, absolutely.
you know, really full on radio friendly, you know.
Yeah. So as a lot of artists have been doing during the COVID-19 lockdown, which we are still in the middle of, a lot of people have been recording separately, obviously, and safely, and putting albums, well, not putting albums out, but certainly putting singles out. And that's one of the things that you've done. And some of the latest videos have been sort of put together as you all, as individuals. Just give me a very quick breakdown of how you run that process and what you use to do it, because I think people will be interested to know.
Well, you know, you come up with a song, you go to GarageBand, maybe put a acoustic guitar part down just to get something down there. I always like to get rid of the acoustic guitar or guitar chords. I don't think they help in pop music. I think guitar lines are nice, but it just generally mushes up. Then my bass player, Mike Gibson, who lives in Buryport, he'll send over bass lines, so I put them in the track. Get it to as good a standard as you can. It's quite lo-fi, but you know, it kind of works. And then think about a video for it. And obviously we can't meet up. So the first video was 4 people sending videos of themselves, but you can't see anybody's heads, or if you can, they got masks on. Second video, as I said, was a dancer from Cardiff, who I just said, do you fancy dancing to this? And this video tonight is, you know, so we can't meet. I mean, there's only 2 people really in the band. We've got a third guy, Stuart, who does some keyboards and he does some videos for us. He's a very talented guy. He lives just up the road, which is useful. But yeah, but that's it. So write a song, GarageBand, get it mastered. I would suggest that. If it's, you know, it's 25 quid, but you're not paying for recording fees, then just do any kind of video, because I think people need to watch stuff. I think that, you know, if you just put a music track up on YouTube and you share it, I think people want to see something, you know, and also it means you hold the viewer's eyes as well as their ears if you do an interesting video. So I think videos, you know, really important. I mean, you know, nobody's aiming for record deals. There aren't any anymore anyway. So the best thing to do is to create as much art around it as possible and of course, video just gives another element to it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, well, I think famously, one of the videos involved a man in a goat's head. Basically, that was pretty much what was going on.
Yeah, that was a real massive production job. That was, but costumes and all
who,
sorts of things.
who was revealed to be the one and only Russ Gomer, I
Indeed,
believe.
yeah, he was in Stella. He was Yanto in Stella. Yeah,
Yeah,
that video's up. I think if you go to YouTube and look at the Mams and then Goats, it's a really lovely video. It's
it
it's
is.
about Welsh history. It's a kind of country and western vibe. But the Russ's performance, even though he's got a mask on, is quite wonderful.
Yeah,
He's a really
yeah.
talented actor.
Well, I mean, you mentioned building art around the music, and of course you're sort of involved in one way or another with the Lan Festival, which will hopefully take place this year, but takes place every year, sells out every year. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's been going for about 13, 14 years now. It's run by Richard Thomas and John Williams, uh, both Welsh guys, but largely based in London. But Richard's got a wonderful black book, and so he's had people down here like Patti Smith, Ray Davies, Mike Brealey, the cricketer, John Cooper Clarke performs regularly. I've seen Kevin Rowland from Dexys. It's generally a literary festival, though there is some music attached to it. And this year, Libertino Records were going to be running the music side, but of course, COVID put paid to that. They're hoping to run the weekend, the first weekend of October, obviously everything permitting. We'll have to see how it goes. It seems a long way off, but obviously the famous R number has to go down by then, And with this government, who knows?
Yes. The famous arse number, I think we should call it.
Yeah,
really.
absolutely.
So, Jon Tregenna, you are not just a musician, but you're a writer, a playwright, a script writer, and a screenwriter. You actually have a BAFTA for Cowboys Ack Indians, which was on S4C a few years back, which you co-wrote with your sister. And that now, thanks to you, is available to watch on YouTube, correct?
It is, yeah. But it was done in 2006, 2007. We did 16 episodes, and you can't see these things. With the BBC, there's a certain amount, stuff goes, they show old stuff, and you can watch old comedies on Channel 4. But S4C, I mean, we paid for this stuff through our taxes, and we don't have access to it. It didn't go on DVD. There's no archive. So I had recorded DVDs of it with subtitles. And one day, a couple of weeks ago, I just stuck it up there.
Yeah.
If anybody complains, fine. But it's, quite a few people have watched it. I mean, it was a different series for S4C because it was quite American in its wit, and it was quite funny and colourful and pretty sharp. I mean, my sister's quite a brilliant TV writer, and yeah, why not stick it up there? Get everything up.
Well, I've been watching it, as you know, and I find it very, very funny. And the characters in it are quite genuine. And weirdly, when I've watched it, I've seen you in those characters as well. Because I know what your sense of humor is like.
Yeah.
Slightly off the wall.
Yeah. But go left, go left, go left, go left, and then find yourself in a ridiculous place. But it's a logical place. If you keep making weird decisions, you end up in somewhere really strange.
Yeah. Well,
I worked. My pop career was coming to an end in London. Not that it really started, but I got played on Peel and Radio 1 and stuff, and did some quite big gigs with the same management as Suede, which was interesting. But the last 2 years in London, I worked in a car showroom, so that's
right.
So I have lived it. I wasn't trying to guess the world,
Yeah. and as your sort of interest in music and writing progressed, you unfortunately, obviously the show hasn't been performed yet, but you wrote a musical for the National Theatre of Wales. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a musical about Dr. William Price called Hail Cremation, and I think on Monday the 16th or the 19th of March, we knew it was probably going to be shut down, and we were 4 days off opening.
Oh
The
God.
cast everything was ready to go. We were in the venue in the Memo in Newbridge. We were just going through the tech, and it just got shut down. I mean, it's funny, you know. You hope it'll be put on. It's the National Theatre Wales has spent a lot of money on it. I think there's quite a demand for this show. I mean, it's a very important show for Wales. It deals with an exuberance and a magic side of Wales, which we don't often see. We have Valley's Wit, we have dark post-industrial stuff, but this is a very magical, like Wales on mushrooms kind of show. Completely massive, and Adele Thomas, who directed it, did an astonishing job. We've got it's all danced through. There's music. It was like a catwalk cabaret thing, and it would have had an impact. It would have had an impact, and it's gone. And God, you know, if it never reappears, I think it would be a real tragedy, and you know, not just for me, but for the cast and the crew, and for Wales. And I really hope that once all this is over, they'll revisit it. You know, it's
and sadly, this is echoed throughout the entire entertainment industry.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, across the country, you know, there are venues wondering whether they ever will reopen,
Yeah.
and there are certainly artists wondering whether they will ever bother to perform again after this, which has been a bit of a tragedy. But all we can hope is that the phoenix will rise from the flames as such, and the cream will
Yeah.
rise to the top.
And we know there are people in far worse positions than creatives. People are having to go to work on not much money in terrible conditions and worried about the virus, and it's, you know, but yeah, you can allow yourself a little bit of, you know, self-pity occasionally, but in the bigger picture, we just got to get on with it, really.
Yeah. Well, Jon, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you very much for allowing us to interview you from Keep Cardiff Live. And may we say onwards and upwards with all of your projects, especially the MAMS. Can you just give us the web addresses or the Facebook pages so people can find you?
Yeah, I think the Facebook page is the MAMS Band. All our stuff's on there. There's also, I've got a website which covers everything I've done. It's called Tregni, TREGNI .co.uk, and there's a MAMS page on that with all the videos and everything else.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so
Lovely.
take a peek. There might be something mad you might like. Who knows?
Thanks, Jon. Hopefully we'll speak to you again, maybe in the near future when things are looking up.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take care.
Ta-da.
Brilliant.
I hate being interviewed. It's only because it's you.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I mean, the day the show closed, I was going to go on Radio 4 that night.
Okay.
And it's like I've got to pretend I'm more, even though I've done these things that are quite creative and people think, oh wow, that's really clever and blah blah.
Yeah.
I don't feel that person. I feel like I'm acting that person. So to go on Radio 4, I'd have to go, you know, I can't go, well, you know, I spoke to someone, he mentioned Dr. William Price, I read about him, I thought, oh, I'll have a go at that. You know, it's like, that's not the language that people expect, you know?
That's right, yeah. We're restricted on time on this because I'm doing it on freebie, so it's 40 minutes. I just want to do the intro again, because as we were going along, I was thinking what I'll do is I do need to introduce you, and then I'm going to say we're going to have a quick look at some of the MAM's work, and they'll edit that in. Okay, so here we go again. Hello and welcome to Cardiff Live. My name is not Cardiff Live. Hi and welcome to Keep Cardiff Live. My name's Aubrey Parsons. I was interviewed recently on the website and they liked it so much they bought me and asked me to do some interviews. The gentleman that I have here this morning is Mr. Jon Tregenna, who is currently residing in Larne. And Jon is one of the mainstays of the band, the MAMS. Now, before we start talking, let's have a quick look at some of their videos. Okay, and I think that'll do, actually. We can cut, everything else will cut in from there. Yeah.
Do you want the master videos to be retransferred to you, or do you want to download them from YouTube?
We'll download. We'll get them from YouTube. Yeah, I'll just let Tony slot them in wherever he needs to.
So, yeah, because you could put a bit of the the modeler track with the 4 faces. That's quite aggressive.
Yeah, yeah,
And then when
exactly.
I talked about my daughter and that song, you could with the dancer.
Yeah,
You need to see about 7 seconds of it, but it'll give it
yeah,
some
that's it.
context. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Okay,
All
right.
right.
Yeah, this is going to shut down any second. So
Okay, mate.
thanks, dude.
Are you doing anything with the audiobook? Or are you? Don't worry if you're
Yes,
not. I'm
yes,
only
yeah, yeah,
asking.
yeah, yeah. No, I've been cracking on with it because I've been watching all the episodes of Cowboys Like Indians as well. You know, to
Yeah, yeah.
sort of pull some bits and bones out. But no, I've been
Of
working on it.
course, yeah.
I'm working on an Ivor Novello biography and 3 other books at the moment, so I'm trying to sort of juggle
No,
everything
no,
in
it's
and
fine.
out, you know. So, but I'll
Well,
I'll have I'll have some significant stuff for you within the next 2 weeks for you to have
that's
a
fine.
listen to. So,
That's fine. I'm. I don't know if it's going to cut out, but I'm. Nobody knows about this, but I'm. Martin Rose and the Guardian cartoonist.
yeah.
So we've been talking, and he sent me a load of poems, and I'm setting them to music.
Ah, right.
I'm looking for people to perform them, but they are incredibly offensive,
Yeah,
as you know. If you know the
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Um, but there was one I was thinking that you could do, which is called "Angry White Man Blues,"
brilliant.
and it's basically a pig of a guy,
Yeah,
and it'll be a blues tune. So what I'll do is I haven't done the music for that one yet. I've done about 5 of the 11. I
yeah.
haven't asked anyone else yet, but I think you'd be the man for the job.
Oh, that'd be ace. I'd love to do that.
And what I'll do is I'll do a kind of blues song. I'll sing it.
Yeah,
What I'd like you to do, if you want to do it, is to kind of sing it on a Zoom,
yeah,
and then I'll put that track into the track, into the track. But we've got a live presentation.
yeah. Okay.
But I want a bit of acting in it. I don't want any of these, because lots of these fucking theatre are like. So I looked at him and I thought, I haven't seen that. It's like, fuck off. I want big, because Martin's larger than life. And
Yeah,
yeah, so when I've done that, which will be in a few days, listen to it. You don't have to learn it because you can obviously read the words,
yeah, yeah.
on, somewhere. But I think it'd be fun.
Okay, brilliant.
But some of them are really disgusting.
No, that's great.
Like there's one about a baboon wanking on a windscreen. It is that wild.
Yeah, that's my kind of stuff, man.
All right, mate.
Nice one.
When I've sorted that out, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it'd be good fun.